So I want to start out with a story that some of you may have heard, but it's from the time that Eric was a young missionary, my husband Eric. When he was a young missionary, before we were married, he was in his early 20s. And he was with a group that was in inner city New Orleans. And they were going to be street evangelizing during Mardi Gras on Bourbon Street in inner city New Orleans. So just imagine the type of atmosphere that they were about to walk into. The group that he was with, they were very much like radical Jesus followers. And he was still kind of on that fence of like, I don't know about these kooky missionaries. I know I want to be a missionary, but these guys are a little off their rocker, but you know, I'm signed up, I have to go, kind of a thing. And they decided they were going to build this huge wooden cross, and they were going to take it to Bourbon Street in the middle of Mardi Gras and stand there and hand out tracts and evangelize. Eric was thinking, okay, there is no way I am going to hang on to that cross, hold up a cross in the middle of Bourbon Street during Mardi Gras. It will look like an absolute fool. So they unloaded the truck and they got this cross all set up. And Mardi Gras, you know, was wild partiers and drinking and all sorts of evil going on all around them. And they brought this cross right into the middle of Bourbon Street. And they said to Eric, you know, do you want to come hold the cross? And his first reaction was to say, no, I'm good. I'm good over here. You know, you guys go over there, I'll kind of stand over here. And so for about an hour, he was miserable because he was sort of waffling between the world and the cross. He wasn't part of the partying going on the street, but he also wasn't standing with Jesus Christ. He wasn't ready to cling to that cross and proclaim to everybody there, I'm with Jesus. He was just sort of waffling halfway between the two. And if anybody would look at his life, they wouldn't think, oh, this man is a Christian. They wouldn't know where he stood. They couldn't really tell if he was a partier or a missionary. He was just halfway in between both. And he was completely miserable, just sort of like, well, I don't want to disown these fellow missionaries of mine. I don't want to join the partiers, but he's just sort of in no man's land, in between. And then finally, about an hour into it, one of the missionaries invited him again, will you come and hold the cross? And despite all of his misgivings, he found himself saying, sure, I'll come and hold the cross. So he kind of made his way over there, and as soon as he wrapped his arm around that big wooden cross, it was like this electrifying joy filled him, because he had crossed that line and he had said, I am with Jesus. And so he wrapped his arm around this cross, and suddenly this huge smile came over his face. It was like, wow, this is joy. This is the most incredible, amazing experience because I'm proclaiming to the world exactly where I stand. Now, the partiers on the street didn't treat him very well. They had been kind of ignoring him when he was halfway between the cross and the world. But now that he was proclaiming, I'm with Jesus, they were mocking him. They were making fun of him. They were throwing beer at him. And yet he had